everyone, this is Hafizullah Masoudi and you're watching From Code with Hafiz. I welcome you to the fifth video of this series where we will discuss HTML styles with CSS, HTML links, HTML images and HTML tables. Now first of all, let's dive into HTML styles with CSS. Well, before everything else, you must know that what is CSS. Well, CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets, and it saves a lot of work and it can control the layout of multiple web pages all at once. Now CSS is used to format the layout of a web page. For example, you can control the color, size of text, spacing between elements, how elements should be positioned, or what background images or colors to be used for different displays or different devices or different screen sizes, and many more. Now we won't go deeper into CSS for this series, but I will only show you how you can add CSS to your HTML documents and the ways you can use style sheets in your web page. Now the word cascading means that a style applied to a parent element will also apply to all children elements within a parent. So what does this parent and child relationship means? Well, this means that if you apply color of body text to blue, all headings, paragraphs and other text elements inside the body element will also get the same color, which is blue. So that's the meaning of a parent and child relationship. Now we can add CSS to our HTML documents in three ways. The first one is inline, which I have showed you many times in our previous videos. And the second one is internal, which is using a style element in the head section. And the third way is external, by using a link element to link an external CSS file in the head section. Now let's start from the first way and then I will show you the second and third way also. So let's get back to the text editor, and in here you can already see that we have these paragraphs and each of them has this style attribute which has the color declared. So this is inline styling, guys, and you can use CSS like this and add it inline to your elements. Now the second way is to add it internal by using a style element in the head section. So first of all, we need to create the head section. So after the HTML element, let's press enter and let's open our head section and let's close it also. And inside here what we need is the style element, so let's say style and let's close it. And now inside here whatever we do is a CSS. So let's say we want the paragraph tags to be colored tomato. So what we can do is we can say P and then curly braces, and inside here whatever we declare will be the style of paragraphs. So let's say color, and we want this one to be tomato. Now what we can do is remove the, let's say inline styles from these paragraphs to see our code if it works. So let's remove them. And if we save it now, get back to the browser and refresh, now you see we still have our tomato color for all of the paragraphs, which means our internal CSS code is working. Now the third way is to link an external CSS file in the head section, and then we can write all of our CSS code in that external CSS file. So let's get back to the text editor, and to show you this one, let's first of all link our file. So we have another element which is called a link, and we should use it in the head section. So let's say this one should have a relationship, and for the relationship value let's say style sheet, and then we can declare the link to that file or the path to that file, and we can use href. So in here let's create a file in the same directory, and I will name it styles.css, and you can notice that all the CSS files should have this CSS extension. So now guys, we have to create this file, and to create this file what we can do is press Ctrl N to open a new text editor. And first of all, let's save it. So I will Control S and go to the project directory. So desktop HTML projects, and let's name our file styles.css. Now let's save this. And now what we can do is bring or grab all of our styles from our HTML page to our CSS file. So let's cut this from here and let's paste it here. Now let's also indent it a little bit for clean code, and now you can see all of our code, CSS code is being highlighted for us. So if we get back to the HTML file, now you can see we don't have any styles in here, but we are linking our styles.css file. So what this means is, if we go to the browser, we still have to be able to get all of our styles. As you can see, I refreshed and we still have our styles. Now to check if our file is linked correctly, we can right click, inspect, and go to sources, and in here you can see now we have our styles.css file. Now this being done, I told you we won't go deep into CSS, so this was everything about how to add a CSS to your HTML documents. Now the next topic that we have here is HTML links or hyperlinks. So what are links, guys? Well, you can find links in nearly all web pages, and links allow users to click their way from one page to another, and you can just click on a link and jump to another document just like that. And whenever you move the mouse over a link, the mouse arrow will turn into a little hand. Now note also that a link does not have to be always a text. It can be an image or any other HTML element too. So to define a link, we can use the A tag or anchor tag, as you remember from our previous videos. So let's get back to our text editor, and in here what we can do is let's press enter and put a line break, and let's create a link. So A tag. Now the most important attribute of the A element is the href attribute, which indicates the link's destination. Now the link text is the part that will be visible to the reader, and clicking the link text will send the reader to the specified URL address. So to declare a link or href for this anchor tag, we can say href and then the link. So let's say https://www.google.com, and now we have to declare the text for it. So let's first close it, and inside here let's say go to Google. Now a link by default will appear as underlined and blue, as it is unvisited link, and when we visit that link it will be still underlined, but its color will change to purple. And note that an active link is also underlined and its color will be red. Of course, we can style links with CSS to get completely another look for the links, but that is completely another topic. So now let's get back to the browser and check our link if it works. So let's go to the browser, refresh, and you can see it's in purple because in our previous videos we created a link like this. So if we go to this link, it's loading the google.com. So let's get back to our project tab. So guys, by default the link to a page will be displayed in the current browser window, and to change this we must declare another attribute, which is the target attribute, and through the target attribute what we can do is specify another target for the link. So let's declare a target attribute for this go to Google link. So let's go to the text editor, and what I want to do is tell this link to open in a new tab. So in here let's say target, and it should equal to some value, and to open it in a new tab we can declare underscore blank. And if we save it now, get back to the browser, refresh, and now if I click on it, you can see now it's opening the google.com in a new tab. Now we have some more values also for the target attribute, which is underscore self, which is the default value, and it will open the link in the same window or tab. And the next one that we have is the underscore parent value, which will open in the parent frame. And the final one or value that we have for the target attribute is underscore top, which will open in the full body of the window. Now next up, about the links, we can have two kind of URLs, absolute URLs or relative URLs. And absolute URLs describes a full web address in the href with HTTPS and all the other stuff. And the relative URLs are local links to pages within the same website, for example without the HTTPS or www. Now let's use an image as a link to show you that we can use other HTML elements as link also. So let's get back to our text editor, and what we can do is, instead of, for example, this go to Google, we can use a image. So let's erase it, and in here let's use the img tag. And for the img, you know, we had the source attribute in which we can declare the image URL. So I have an images folder, and then let's say 1.jpg, and I will also describe a width for it. So let's say 42 pixels. Now let's save this, get back to the browser, refresh, and now if I click on it, you can see our image is a link. Now finally, about links, we can create link bookmarks too, and link bookmarks are used to jump to a specific part in a web page. For example, the page may be too long and we want to create a bookmark link to jump to a specific part of the page without scrolling to that part, and just clicking on the link will bring that part for the reader. So to show you this one, what we can do is get back to the text editor, and what I will do is, for example, copy this paragraph a couple of times. So let's copy it to make our page scrollable for you to see the example better. Now let's check this one. So yeah, now we have a scroll. Now let's give this last paragraph an ID. So what I will do is, for this one I will say ID, and let's name it example. And what we can do is copy this link, because I will create another one at the top. So let's press enter here, paste it, and for this one let's say go to example. So let's say go to example. Now how can we create a bookmark link instead of URL in the href? What we can do is declare the ID of that element. So in here let's say hash for ID, and then the ID, which is example. So let's remove the blank because we don't need it. And now if we get back to the browser, refresh, and let's click on it, you can see our page is bringing us at the bottom. Now we don't have a very long page, but if you have a long page, in that page you will see the effect of this functionality more clear. Now in here you can also see that it brings us to the bottom of the page, and if I scroll to the top, it again brings us to the bottom. Now next up, let's discuss HTML images. Now images can improve the design and the appearance of a web page, and you already remember how we used an image tag or element in our web page. And in here you can also see we have an image example. So to show you again, let's create an image tag. So what I will do is get back to the text editor, and let's remove all of this. Well, let's remove or leave the anchor tag, and let's remove these tags from here. And now let's create it after the anchor tag. So let's say img, and let's say source should equal to images / 3.jpg, and let's also declare the alt. So alt attribute, and let's say example image. Now you notice here guys that the image tag is an empty tag, and it contains attributes only and does not have a closing tag, and it has two required attributes the source attribute and the alt attribute. And the source attribute is used to specify the URL to the image, and the alt attribute is to provide an alternate text for an image if there is any error in loading the image. So to check this example, let's get back to the browser, refresh, and you can see now we have our image. Now we can either use the style attribute to give some width or height to this image, or alternatively use the width and height attributes. Now to show you this one, let's say we want a width for it, so let's say 500, and let's declare a height for it, so it should be height, and let's say 300. And if I save it, get back to the browser, now let's refresh, and now you can see we are getting the height and the width for our image. Now next what we can do is we can declare background images for almost any HTML element, but for that we have to use some CSS. So to show you this one, let's get back to the text editor, and what we can do is we can create some paragraphs. So in here let's say a p tag, and let's close this. So close the p tag, and in here let's say this is a paragraph. So for this one what we can do is in the styles element of our head section we can say all paragraphs should have a background image, so background hyphen image, and then we can declare the URL to the image, so it is inside, let's say, images folder, and let's say do.jpg. And if I save it, get back to the browser, refresh, and now you can see we have the image. And if we change the image of the paragraph to this image, then we would see the effect. So let's go to the text editor, and if I make this one 3 also, and now if I refresh, you can see now we have this image in here. So it means that we can use images for almost any HTML element. Now let's give this body also a background image. So let's get back to the text editor, and what we can do is in the styles element we can say body curly braces, and inside here let's say background hyphen image should have a URL, and inside here let's say images /4.jpg. and if I save it, get back to the browser, refresh, now you can see we have the image for all of our body. Now we can style further an image using CSS, but that's completely another topic which relates to CSS, so we won't go deep into that. Now next up we have HTML tables. So HTML tables allow web developers to arrange data into rows and columns. So to define an HTML table, first you must know that an HTML table consists of table cells inside rows and columns. So let's first create a table, and then I will describe it to you that what does each element mean. So let's get back to text editor, and what I will do is remove everything from here, and let's also remove this styling. Now to create a table we can use the table element, so let's say table, and we also have to close it, and then for the table we have a tr, so let's say tr, and let's close the tr, and let's create some th here. Well, don't worry about this, I will describe or explain everything in a moment, but before that I will only create it. So let's say in here name, and let's create another one, so I will copy this one and paste it a couple of times. So for this one let's say position, and for this one let's say status. Now let's copy this tr and paste it again and paste it again. Now for these other trs I want a td instead of th, so let's paste it in here and in here also and in here also. this one should be also TD. Now for this one, let's say for example Ahmad, and for the position let's say manager, so manager, and for the status let's say active, and the second one let's say Mahmoud, and let's say this one is also manager, and in here let's say retired. Now if we go to the browser and refresh, now you can see we have our table in here. Now what all of these elements mean? Well, the first one, the table element is clear, and it means that we have a table here. And the second one that we have is the tr, which stands for table row, and we can create a row like this by using a tr element. And inside tr we can have either a th, which stands for table header, or we can have a td, which stands for table data. Now tables can have borders also, so to show you how to give this table borders, we have to give the table element and the th element and the td element all borders. So in here what we can do is we can say table comma th comma td and then curly braces, and inside here to declare borders for it we can say border, and we want this border to be 1 pixel, and we want it to be solid, and to give it a color we can say black. And let's save this, get back to the browser, refresh. Now you can see we have our nice border. Now the double border are due to each element has its own borders, so that's the reason for double borders. Now to remove the double border we can use another CSS property. So in here we can say border hyphen collapse, and then we can say collapse. And if I save it now, get back to the browser, refresh, now you can see we have a single line border. So in here guys, you can see this table has horizontal headings, and if you wanna have vertical headings, so what we can do is get back to the text editor, and what we can do is we can declare a th for each of the row. So I will cut this th from here and paste it here, and the other one from here. So let's cut it from here and paste it in the last tr. And for the data what I will do is because the first one is for the name, I will bring all of the names in there. So let's remove this from here and paste it here, and let's remove this other one from here and paste it here. And for the position, let's grab the other manager from the last tr and paste it in the second one. And for the status, let's cut this one and paste it here. Now in here you can see for each of the tr we have a t head, then 2 tds, a t head and 2 table datas. Now let's save this, get back to the browser, and if I refresh, now you can see we have a vertical heading, and in the name row you can see we have all of our names. In the position we have all the positions, and in the status we have all the status. Now next up we have table call span and row span. So HTML tables can have cells that span over multiple rows or columns. And for example, to show you this one, let's get back to the text editor, and what I want to do is instead of these names, so let's create a th here. So let's say th, and this one should be, let's say, for name. And in here what I want to do is guys, let's first change this to td, and now what I want to do is let's say Ahmad, and then I want the last name. So let's say Mahmoud here, and in here I want the age, for example let's say 24, and in here let's say another name which should be John, and let's say Doe, and let's say 25. And now what do you think, how will this data be shown in the browser? So if we save it, get back to the browser, refresh, now you can see all of our data is showing incorrectly. So to solve this, what we need to do is declare a call span to this name th. So in here let's say call span equals to, and what we want to do is, or what we want to span is 2 columns. So let's get back to the browser, and if I refresh now you can see we have the name, which is Ahmad Mahmoud, age 24, and then we have John Doe, age 25. Well, this John is bold because if we go to the text editor we still have the th here, so let's make this a td, and then we are good to go. So let's get back to the browser, refresh. Now it's working. And to show you an example of row span, let's create another table. So let's get back to the text editor. So let's copy this table. So I will copy it and paste it at the bottom, and what we can do is we can customize it now. So first of all, let's remove the call span, and what we need is, let's leave the name, but instead of age let's say Ahmad, and for the next tr let's say the first one should be th, this should be also th, and in here let's say phone, and we have a phone here, phone number, so let's say 555-1234, and let's remove the other td. And in the next one what we have is only the second number, so let's remove this, and in here let's say we have the second number, which is 555 hyphen, let's say 8745. Now if we save this and get back to the browser, refresh, you can see it's also not showing correctly. Well, let's put a BR here to see all the tables more clearly. Now what we can do is, to fix the problem of the table, for this th of phone we can declare a row span. So let's say row span, which should equal to, and we want to span 2 rows, so let's say 2. And now if we go to the browser, refresh, now you can see name is Ahmad and phone is the 2 numbers. So guys, this was everything for today. Now of course we can use more CSS properties to design and style the tables, but that's completely another scenario, and in here we will only discuss HTML. So you learned about HTML styles or CSS, which was how to add a CSS to your HTML documents, and then we discussed HTML links following the HTML images, and finally you learned what are HTML tables and how to use it. Now I hope you enjoyed watching the video. If so, don't forget to give the thumbs up and a nice comment also, and if you are new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe too if you want more videos like this. So thanks for watching, see ya in the next video.